What is up, ladies and babies? There are definitely no ladies watching, and I would be concerned if there were babies watching. Okay, okay. Anyways, what is up, boys? I wanted to do a trade recap today on how we caught 130 points trading the Nasdaq this morning, pairing quarterly theory with power of three. I want to go into my thought process before market open, my thought process during market open, how we reacted to price action, and how price action continued to develop throughout the rest of the trading day. So first and foremost, the showcase executions. Ended up catching nearly the bottom of the day. Ended up targeting internal range liquidity. Internal range liquidity, IRL. What? Anyways, so also going to comment on how we knew to hold through the consolidation. Why'd I say it like that? Through this entire consolidation that many people deemed absolutely terrible, which it was. News today, we ended up having news data release at 8:15 a.m. and then we ended up having JOLTS openings at 10 a.m. with Trump later speaking at 6:10 p.m. I'm converting all of these times into EST in my mind. So now back on the chart, I want to start with our top-down analysis when approaching market open. Starting off on the daily time frame. Oh my goodness, I gotta, bro, are we serious? Starting off on the daily time frame, we had this previous day low I wanted to see get taken. Now that previous day low, before having gone into market open, was not yet taken. So when approaching market open, I was looking to potentially see an opportunity to go short in order to take that previous day low. So now scaling down onto the 15-minute time frame, I went into replay mode so you guys can see how the quarters ended up aligning. When going into market open, there were two things I was looking at. The first being the quarters, and the second being how we were within a clear market maker buy model. However, first, let's touch on the quarters. This, to me, having gone into market open, was really looking like an AAMD, accumulation during Asia session, accumulation during London session, manipulation during New York, and then further distribution going into New York PM. So having noticed we were currently within a manipulation, that is also what gave me confidence to look to go short, potentially look to go short if price action would have allowed in order to take out this previous day low before then looking to continue higher toward internal range liquidity. Now scaling down on the 1 minute, going into market open, first 9:30 open candle, we ended up forming an SMT at these highs, both with ES and YM, which immediately gave me bearish confidence that we were looking to take out this daily low before looking to continue potentially higher. Also, when scaling down onto the lower time frame, we were able to see a clear I almost said AMD. Well, it is an AMD. Clear power of three setup develop. We had our accumulation range right here. We're looking to see price manipulate before continuing higher. If I go into replay mode, we can see how these quarters ended up aligning. Going into the micro cycles, we had an accumulation from 9 to 923, well, 922 and a half, 923, manipulation this second quarter, and then continuation, with later having a X, which was continuation, AMDX. After having taken out that daily low, we formed a daily sequential SMT with both ES and YM. That is also why I do personally think that this can potentially be low of the week. Now don't quote me on that, however, just potentially. Not only formed a daily sequential SMT, but also a micro cycle sequential SMT with YM at these lows, following this power of three on the 1 minute time frame. How do we end up getting our entry? We understand all the other confluence, didn't end up mentioning this, but yes, we were trading below Q2 true open and midnight open, true day open. However, the question now here is, how do we end up getting our execution? This trade was taken on the 30-second time frame. We took it based upon a 30-second change in state of delivery. I loved how price action was looking. I was looking to continue to follow this 1 minute power of three to the upside. price allowed a clear entry on the 30-second, the 1 minute, not so much. You could have utilized the inverse fair value gap in order to get an entry that later ended up happening. Right here, your RR would have been just a little bit different depending on how you placed your entry, but it's just placed like this. You would have had a 37-point stop with the same draw on liquidity I had. Would have been around a 1 to 3 R. Still great. As price action continued to develop, we ended up forming a huge divergence with YM. We can see right here, I don't even need to go in replay mode on YM to showcase that. The divergence was huge. Straight longs, off-rip market open on YM. So the one thing I was concerned about seeing was an opposing sequential SMT. However, like I said, I had potentially anticipated that the daily sequential SMT would be low of the week, so I was expecting it to continue to hold. As price action continued to develop, I also noticed that this was a clear open, low, high, close. So that is what gave me the confidence to continue to hold throughout all of this consolidation here, when we also later then had 10 a.m. news data release and just be absolute garbage. Low-hanging fruit would have been Q2 true open, or you could have even targeted midnight open. Where's midnight? Midnight open, right somewhere here. I'm not gonna find an absolute tick, but you guys get it. Q2 true open, any true open could have been your low-hanging fruit, but like I said, once noticing this was a clear open, low, high, close, I wanted to see price action continue to higher toward internal range liquidity, eventually taking out the current daily high, which we later ended up doing. This was a long hold, very, very, very long hold. Now, I do want to comment on two things. The first having been me holding through opposing sequential SMT, and the second being the risk reward on this trade. I'm first going to comment on the risk rewards because it's a whole lot easier. Only takes 2 seconds. For anyone curious, this trade was just shy of 6 RR. And now, pertaining to me holding through these sequential SMTs, the only reason why I continue to hold, like I said prior, was because of our clear open, low, high, close, as well as our daily sequential SMT. Us having created low of the week, potentially having created low of the week, was the only reason why I ended up continuing to hold. That paired with the open, low, high, close. Now, why am I saying this? I'm saying this because if we wouldn't have had that daily sequential SMT, or a clear open, low, high, close, or one without the other, then I would have exited my position either at low hanging fruit at Q2 true open, or would have exited my position in full once we ended up forming that opposing sequential SMT. I utilized sequential SMT for 3 things: entry, confluence for when to exit a trade, and confluence for when to go break even. During this trade, as the sequential SMT developed, I did set my stop loss at break even, did not want to take any risks. However, I was still risk on the table. Well, that doesn't make sense now, does it? I was break even, but risk on the table. I was just putting buzzwords together. Bro is not Plato's. Bro is not Einstein. Who does this Diddy Blood think he is? Anyways, you guys get the point. And yeah, that is today's trade recap on how I caught 130 points trading the NASDAQ. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you didn't enjoy, I don't care. If you enjoyed, I don't care. Join the Discord or don't join the Discord. I don't care. Yeah, love you guys. Thank you for watching and happy learning.